in the chat and let us know your comments and questions as we read through our headlines today. We are the Music News at noon each and every weekday, Monday through Friday. You can visit our website if you would like to join us on our stream and watch what we're doing back behind the scenes. If you'd like to follow along with our headlines, or if you'd like to register for free, tons more content on our website, all that and more at musicindustrycity.com. Make sure you join us on stream. We begin our countdown and our headlines for today, Friday. Welcome to the Music News.
It is Friday, July 9th, and this is the Music News Power Hour on the Music Industry City Broadcast Network. I'm Peter Schwing, and please join me in welcoming my co-host Eli Window and UK correspondent Angela Randall.
Hello, hello. Hi, Peter. It's great to see you.
Happy Friday.
All right, in today's news, Universal spends $3 billion. Portishead covers ABBA for fan-powered royalties. Soundr signs virtual artists. No more CDs. Ireland to criminalize secondary ticketing market, and as always, our daily Spotify update. These stories coming up, but first, let's take a look at this day in music history with Eli Window. Eli.
All right, taking a look at this day in music history, we begin with birthdays. We don't have deaths to report today. Beginning with birthdays on the 9th of July, 1946, British singer Bon Scott, born Ronald Belford Scott, who was with Australian rock band AC/DC, was born this date in 1946. He was with the band from 1974 until his death in 1980. On this date, 1959, born Jim Kerr, singer-songwriter with Scottish rock band Simple Minds. And also, same date, same year, 1959, English singer-songwriter Mark Almond of Soft Cell. Born on this date, 1964, American singer-songwriter, actress Courtney Love. Happy birthday. Also, happy birthday from 1965, Frankie Bello, bassist for Anthrax. And born July 9th, 1975, Isaac Brock, singer and guitarist with Modest Mouse. Happy birthday. Also, happy birthday from 1975 and this date to Jack White, born John Gillis, guitarist and vocalist for the White Stripes. And born this date, 1976, Dan Estrin, guitarist for Hoobastank. Happy birthday all around today, July 9th. Moving on to this day in music history. On July 9th, 1956, after the June 30th trouble at Asbury Park, Bill Haley and his Comets were denied permission to play at the Roosevelt Stadium in Jersey City. A city ordinance was passed that read, quote, rock and roll music encouraged juvenile delinquency and inspired young females in lewd bathing suits to perform obscene dances on the city's beaches, end quote. Sounds like a real party. On this date, 1967, on a U.S. tour supporting the Monkees, the Jimi Hendrix Experience appeared at the Convention Hall in Miami, Florida. After it became plainly apparent that the group is not suited to teeny bopper audiences, the tour's promoter Dick Clark and Hendrix's manager Chaz Chandler concoct a story saying that the conservative Daughters of the American Revolution group had complained at Jimmy's act, and so the Experience left that tour after just 6 shows. And finally, on this date, 1989, New Edition's production manager was charged with criminal homicide after allegedly shooting the Support Act's security man after they ran over their stage time. I guess that's one way to get one more encore, right, Peter?
You know, I can't even count the times that I wish that I wish I had, you know, if I could, I would, for those bands that went overtime. I mean, quite extreme.
Or
I
at
mean,
least at least a little Nerf gun that fires the little Nerf arrows. You know, hey, your time's up.
Yeah, or just get out the giant cane and everything. And also, you know, I love that the Bill Haley in the comments when it's like those kids in their rock and roll music.
And the females in their bathing suits with their dancing.
So crazy. All right, so let's get into the news here. This is where we summarize the most essential news in the fast-paced music industry. I'd also like to thank everyone who's viewing our show on our video live stream. To set the stage for a roundtable conversation, we begin by reading key sections of media pieces. If you'd like to provide commentary on one of today's topics, request to join the stage during the reads. To stay up to date on this and other programming, you can register for free at musicindustrycity.com to obtain access to exclusive content and everything else that's going on, like our podcast, our Daily Brief podcast. Every weekday comes around 8 a.m. That's Eastern Time. And give us 3 minutes, and we'll give you all the day's highlights that you need to know. And with that being said, let's get to it. And this first piece is from Music Business Worldwide. To access all the articles mentioned in today's show and throughout the week, visit musicindustrycity.com and click on the show notes graphic. Universal Music Group spent nearly $3 billion on catalog acquisitions last year Universal Music Group spent nearly $3 billion on catalog acquisitions and artist advances last year. According to Music Business Worldwide, the corporation spent more than $1.71 billion last year on library acquisitions and, quote, advances to artists net of recoupment. This equaled to a daily spend of more than $4.5 million, which was more than 3 times higher than the corresponding sum in 2019. Last year, Universal spent $2.87 billion on catalog acquisitions and artist advances, according to Vivendi's annual financial report. This was a 71% increase over the 1.48 billion euros Universal spent on the category in 2019. They purchased Bob Dylan's song catalog, which Universal purchased for more than $300 million late last year. And Vivendi has previously signaled that Universal's acquisition spending in 2021 will most likely be lower. Universal spent $2.87 billion on catalog acquisitions and artist advances last year, which works out to $7.8 million every day. Sticking with Music Business Worldwide, but this one's a little more song-driven. Portishead released ABBA SOS cover as SoundCloud exclusive via platform's fan-powered royalty stream. The track will be commercially available on a major streaming platform for the first time as a result of the exclusive release, apart from YouTube, where the video has over 3.2 million views. Streams of the song, which was initially written for the 2015 film High Rise, will generate revenue through SoundCloud's fan-powered royalties system, with the band noting the payout model as the reason for their decision to release exclusively on SoundCloud. SoundCloud and Portishead will donate to Mind, a mental health organization in the United Kingdom, as part of the release of SOS. SoundCloud's old branding of the user-centric model, fan-powered royalties, sees royalties from each listener subscription or advertising revenue distributed among the artists they listen to, rather than their plays being pooled, which SoundCloud claims benefits independent artists with loyal fans. SoundCloud previously cited 2 independent artists as case studies for the system, Chevy and Vincent, who, by switching to a, quote, fan-powered model and away from pro rata, based on their play counts at the time, the service estimated that Chevy's monthly royalties would grow 217%, while Vincent's would multiply by 5, increasing from $120 to $600. It's very interesting to see how this will shake out with this fan-centric model. And speaking of fans and artists, well, how about some virtual artists? Soundr label launches with a focus on signing virtual artists. The rise of virtual influencers, which computer-generated characters that amass fans on various social media platforms, has already influenced virtual music performers. Riot Games, for example, has formed multiple CG groups, while the startups Oxman and Strange Loop Studios have also investigated the concept, all building on previous successes from Gorillaz to Hatsune Miku. Soundr, a label that plans to sign a whole roster of virtual artists, is the most recent startup to test the waters. It will not only release music from them, but it will also make them available for usage in games and virtual worlds, as well as launch affordable micro NFTs. Skulls, an emo pop girl group, was introduced as the first act the other day. Soundr is selling passes that function similarly to the loot box features found in games such as FIFA 21, where you pay $7 for a single pass or $35 for a VIP pass in wax currency, and receive some previously unseen before purchase digital cards featuring music and other incentives. It's gonna be. I'm gonna start doing VTubing. I think I'm just instead of doing the live stream with me on camera, I'm just gonna be a VTuber and read the music news. Maybe I'll do that as like a weekly every Friday. Tune into our YouTube channel, and you can catch me as a avatar reading the news in my own virtual set.
Maybe you
Sounds
could
like a
give my
party.
one a maybe you can give my one a British accent so no one confuses me for being the UK correspondent but sounding like an American.
Four Seasons Total Landscaping, home of Juliana Trump campaign folly, debuts as a concert venue. Oh, this sounds fun. Following 8 months of Four Seasons Total Landscaping jokes and merchandise, including a Super Bowl ad, the location has entered the pop up concert booking business. On Thursday, the company announced the solo performance by singer songwriter Laura Jane Grace on August 21st. Brendan Kelly of the Lawrence Arms will open for Grace at an event arranged by Philadelphia promoter Dave Kiss Presents. Michael Saravo, operations manager at Four Seasons Total Landscaping and Kiss, both agreed that they're open to organizing future live music events at Four Seasons Total Landscaping in addition to the Grace pop-up. Grace goes on to say, quote, in a post, "This will be the first and last time Brendan and I will play in front of a landscaping company, and we promise it will be better than that MAGA show." If you want to get tickets, too late. The show sold out in 17 minutes, which would have been faster if the site hadn't kept crashing.
I've never been more proud to be from the greater Philadelphia area.
And let's check in with Eli.
Absolutely. I have lyrics to God Bless the USA running through my head as we hear that last headline and alrighty with it. Don't forget that you can join the discussion. If you have a comment, you can use the hand raise icon at the bottom of the room or chime in the chat to join our discussion or let us know your thoughts or questions as we read through our headlines. You can also bring your friends into the discussion by inviting them using the plus sign to ping them in at the bottom of the room. Touch that house-shaped icon at the top of the room to follow the club and get more updates, and be sure that you follow your moderators as they take the stage. These are the speakers with the green moderator icon. If you're listening and you'd like to join us on our video chat, you can join us on our video stream, follow along in real time with our headlines, and register for free for more content, all on our website. That is musicindustrycity.com. And now moving on with our headlines, we see, oh, look at that. My browser just refreshed. We were just talking about refreshes. We see our next headline that Let the Music Move. This is manager Ross Patel on challenges faced by musicians and managers who are touring in the EU. And this is post-Brexit. With more on this live music headline, we move over to our UK correspondent, Angela Randall. Angela?
Thanks, Eli. This one comes to us from ukmusic.org. Ross Patel, manager of Bristol-based Elder Island, contributed this piece to ukmusic.org. Because of COVID, the group was forced to postpone its planned 2020 tour to 2022, and he discusses the added expenditures and red tape currently confronting the music group post-Brexit ahead of their European tour next year. Swimming Static, the group's album, was announced in November 2020, with the group and their team putting thousands of pounds into cultivating fan bases and audiences around the world, mostly in the EU and the US, to support their small entrepreneurial business. The band's audience has grown in Spain, where the band demanded a 75% increase in fee since the previous tour in December 2019, and Madrid was added to the itinerary, which also already included Barcelona. Because the 2022 headline tour was originally intended for 2020, the routing and fees had been agreed upon with several of the promoters, he says. Due to the deferral of COVID 19, we now face potentially large additional and unexpected expenditures for work licenses and carnets estimated at over £2,500, which cannot figure in because the arrangements have already been arranged. If we did cut the dates, this would all drastically impact the band's business. There's no doubt these extra costs and red tape are detrimental to the band's performance. He goes on to say how this tour will probably not make a profit. Some key facts for Elder Island's 2022 EU tour. The EU tour routing already pushed back from 2020, where Spain is absolutely a key market because of both festivals and hard ticket fans. Spain is currently the most expensive work visa, which is something to note, at about between 323 and 350 pounds. That's well over $400 per person. Touring and skeleton crew and the band is about 7 people all told, which times 350 pounds, you're looking at about 2,450 pounds for just 2 to 3 days of work. And their guarantee income for the two hard ticket shows in Spain is about 4,000 pounds in total, which means every penny of which could contributes to the expense of the tour bus, per diems, accommodation, and so on. There's more to see on this article, but that breakdown really kind of puts into perspective the kind of expenditures we're talking about. We've definitely covered in the Power Hour the last few months the constant battle going back and forth, myself included. I've signed a petition, and several of my friends and colleagues in the business have signed a petition to get the government to revisit this and strike a deal with the EU that would allow free movement for touring musicians. Because unlike people on project work or people who are relocating for a short period of time to work in the EU, most of these musicians will really only be passing through for short stints of under a week. And for that, a visa that's nearly 10% of their total takings per person is just not feasible, unless they sort of have these large touring capacities, like your major touring bands like Metallica and Foo Fighters and whomever. They're not going to have the kind of manpower, person power to sort of propel establishing a whole new infrastructure for the tour for the EU. So what it may end up meaning, and a lot of musicians are terrified to discover, is that they either have to choose to eliminate the UK and do just full EU tours, with all of their arrangements done on that side, or they may have to start and end tours in the UK and have completely different setups on both sides of the channel, and or potentially look into only bringing their personnel that's absolutely required and hiring over in the EU, which means that a lot of people in the UK touring business may be out of work. So we're going to keep you up to date, of course, with this as more information comes through. But this is definitely something to view, to get it a bit of perspective, and hopefully the people can push back on the government to make them make the changes we all need. With that, back to you, Peter.
All right, thank you. Yeah, it's really, I mean, to see this laid out in much simpler terms. I mean, it's one of those, what's his name? I just drew a blank. That does his Spotify, David Lowery. He does his Spotify breakdowns and all his streaming breakdowns, and he puts it public. It'd be really interesting to see somebody expand on this to say, here's what our budget looks like. Here's what our sheet looks like. Here's how many stops and where those stops are. Here's how much we're paying in fuel. Here's how much we're paying, the carnets, all of that. And, just to post that up and say, this is everything that goes on, and really break it down for, the average person and for the, MPs to see.
Yeah, I think Frost was one of the ones who pushed this aside at first, from the Department of Culture, Music and Sport, and Media, Culture, Media and Sport. They just said, simply stay local and just tour around the UK and that sort of thing. But it's just not feasible. And with a band like this is a great example, because they've been promoting and their music resonates in Spain. I mean, if you're a band and your music resonates in Germany or France or Switzerland or wherever, of course you want to go there. That's where a lot of the festivals are happening. That's where your music is really taking hold. So to say, oh, simply play to people who don't want to see you and ignore those who do, would you say the same to a company who was, selling umbrellas? Only sell umbrellas in hot and dry places and not the places where they need them. It just seems so odd.
Only sell ice cubes in Alaska.
Yeah.
Right on. All right, we're going to stay on the UK tip for this one. Is Sainsbury's to stop selling CDs as consumers switch to streaming. Switch to streaming. I'm like, they've since they have switched to streaming a long time ago. But sometimes the headlines like to be in present tense. Sainsbury's is discontinuing the sale of CDs and DVDs as consumers shift to streaming. The move is a setback for physical music sales, which accounted for 18.3% of the market last week, according to figures from the official charts company. Well, that's interesting. 18.3 seems like it's still a relatively decent number, considering the day and age we're in. And there will now be concerns that other retailers will follow Sainsbury's lead and drop CDs. CDs and DVDs will be phased away, but vinyl will continue to be available at some stores, according to the chain. For the past 13 years, the medium has been expanded, and sales of vinyl LPs increased 16.1% year on year in the first 3 months of 2021, surpassing 1 million units. Space in supermarkets for tangible entertainment has been under pressure in recent years, as CD releases have failed to generate the blockbuster sales of the past. Sainsbury's decision will also be a setback for the shrinking compilation sector, which is heavily reliant on CD sales. Physical compilation sales are down 11.1% year so far, compared to 3.9% increase for physical artist albums. And, you know, we there was a mention, I think it was in this week or last week's This Day in History. There was and for the first time on this day in history, CD sales outpaced vinyl sales. And, you know, vinyl's just like, yo, what's up? Now it's like vinyl's like, yo, what's up? You think I'll let you have that one for a little while, but I'm here to stay. You can't.
Vinyl's like, that's cute.
Yeah, that's nice. We'll let you have a little ride, but I'm going to be here forever.
This is kind of gutting for us because when you have your online shop set up right around Christmas time, if you forgot a last minute gift for your husband's aunt or your neighbor down the road, you can always pop an Adele CD or one of the compilations they're talking about into your shop, and it'll come to your house. So I reckon that makes up the entirety of that 18%, 18% of the market. I guess we're going to have to keep some last minute gifts around the house anyway these days because that's no longer going to be an option.
Yeah, I wonder if Now Just Music 72 is going to be pressed on a double vinyl. That would be kind of awesome, wouldn't it?
Yeah,
Make it a
don't laugh.
collector's item. That would actually be,
Yeah,
you know, something. I think we're onto something. Make it a collection of a period of time. Why does that go in there? So we'll make it a collection of over a period of time of saying like, yeah, here Now Just Music from this era on vinyl, and have some like, you know, pop culture arts and the music. You know, you could do something really cool. I'm gonna write to them. So,
way to
all right,
go.
all right. So let's go over to the next one here, and this one is we're gonna stay over there in Ireland. Ireland to criminalize for-profit secondary ticketing starting this month. According to the Irish Times, the Republic of Ireland's government is on the verge of outlawing for-profit ticket reselling in the country, some 4 years after the idea was originally proposed. Ticket touts will face fines of up to 100,000 euros or up to 2 years in prison under the new legislation. It will be applicable to cultural, recreational, and sporting events. Former Prime Minister Leo Varadkar proposed the Sale of Tickets Bill 2020, which had been in the works since 2017 and has been approved by the cabinet last year. Two of the country's largest promoters, Aiken Promotions and MCD, as well as the Consumer Association of Ireland, endorsed the policy. Among the Republic of Ireland's gigs where tickets were sold at substantially inflated prices on shady secondary ticketing platforms were U2 concerts at Dublin's Croke Place Park in 2017, where the face value of tickets of roughly 90 euros were sold by resale sites for up to 1,300 euros. I really wish this could be enforced also more in the States. It's ridiculous with the secondary market. And the fact that like Ticketmaster gets to own their own secondary marketing system, those numbers, those resale values do not go back to the artist, do not go back to it. That doesn't trickle down. That goes into the company.
Right.
Yeah,
That does not go towards helping the artist pay their percentages and their fees. That's very true.
and it would be great that now that we have the opportunity over here to establish with live music having been off for such a time, if we can sort of cut down on them before everything reopens at full pelt, maybe we can change the industry for good for forever. Fingers crossed, maybe.
Yeah. Wishful thinking, maybe. All right. So this one is from IQ Mag. Again, you can go and see all the article headlines in the show notes by going to musicindustrycity.com and clicking on the show notes graphic. This one's Paris test results. Concerts don't pose extra COVID risk, it says. The clinical trial organized by Protis, a French live music association, and APHP, a Paris hospital, took place on May 29th at the Accor Arena in Paris. The trial examined the risk of contamination between two randomized groups, an experimental group of 4,451 concertgoers and a control group of 2,227 non-concert goers. The event's health measures included all participants wearing surgical masks at all times, reinforcing hand sanitation and optimizing room ventilation. In conclusion, the study found a similar infection rate of 0.2% in persons attending the indoor standing concert while wearing a mask compared to those who did not attend at 0.15%. The association's principal goal now is to persuade the government not to take a stop-and-go approach, so preventing the live industry from closing down when the incident rate rises. The Paris findings reflect similar favorable findings from studies in a number of other European countries, all of which concluded that live events do not endanger public health while COVID-19 remains a problem. Let's move over to tech. Back into music business worldwide. TikTok is parking its tanks on YouTube's lawn, starts off as the report says. According to a new analysis issued by reputable analytics firm AppAnnie, TikTok topped YouTube in both the United States and the UK for average time spent per user per month on Android as of May 2021. According to AppAnnie, TikTok users in the United States on Android devices spent an average of 24.5 hours per month on the app as of May. This compares to 22 hours per month per person on YouTube. In the UK, TikTok has a more comfortable lead. Its users spent 26 hours per month on the platform in May of this year, whereas UK YouTube users spent only 16 hours per month. In 2020, the average UK-based YouTube user spent 23.1 hours per month on the site, while the average US TikTok user spent 21.5 hours per month. And according to a previously leaked TikTok B2B pitch deck, the TikTok app had 732 million monthly active users globally as of October 2020, with more than 100 million monthly active users in the United States alone. They're expecting to have 1.2 billion monthly active users on both Android and iPhone by 2021, according to AppAnnie. The Wall Street Journal stated this month, citing an internal email issued to employees, that TikTok parent firm ByteDance's annual sales would exceed $34.3 billion. And across all of its videos, including music, YouTube produced $19.78 billion in advertising revenue for the calendar 2020. So it's interesting to see how, YouTube's trying to do shorts, and then TikTok says, shorts, let's extend it to 3 minutes now. So they keep, it's the battle of changing and seeing where everything will lay out. And with that being said,
I love how all the platforms are just trying to park their stuff on each other's lawns here. We're all just trying to wear the same, we're all trying to wear the same varsity jacket, right? We're all trying to look the same, act the same, be the same, work the same. I love it.
All right, and with that being said,
big green dot hits the spot.
Indeed, indeed. It is time for the Spotify spot. The big green dot hits the spot, and now we look at digital streaming and music technology. But before we do that, we do want to check in on a weather update for all of our listeners. Partly cloudy skies for many of our listeners. Be sure to look for the occasional silver lining whenever a cloud appears in the blue. And now over to Peter for our Spotify spot.
All right, this one's really quick. Spotify app for Mac beta version launched for M1 Apple processors. So for anybody that has gotten the new platform there, Spotify has provided access to the beta from its community site. The music streaming company is seeking feedback from M1 Mac owners to see how the app runs. Apple launched its first native Silicon Mac M1 Macs last year, but Spotify is now just getting around to supporting them. If you want to test a new version of the Spotify app, you need to install the beta version. Spotify does not provide access to the beta in the Mac OS store. It is only at the Spotify community website. All right. And we have something really interesting. It's a little side fun article here. And this one, well, we've all been waiting for this. Heinz, this has nothing to do with music. Unless you're having an outdoor party or your 4th of July event or some barbecue and a band is playing. But Heinz starts a petition to make hot dogs and buns come in equal packs. Yes, finally. It starts off, food waste is more and more a known issue, with American consumers wasting nearly 40% of the food they buy, according to National Resource Defense Council. Why then are hot dog makers and hot bun bakers not doing their part? Hot dogs, Heinz ketchup, Canada says in a new video, often come in packs of 10, while hot dog buns regularly come in groups of 8. The question is, why can't Big Bun and Big Dog get together on this? Now, the company is getting involved in this decades-long struggle. In addition to the video, the company posted an online petition urging Big Bun and Big Wiener to get together and put 10 hot dogs in a package and 10 buns in a package. As of Wednesday morning, just over 5,700 people had signed, and their comments show the issue has bugged a lot of hot dog eaters for a lot of years. One wrote, "I'm 100% in for this. It has been so annoying running out of buns over the years, then resort to bread slices in a pinch. It just isn't the same." I'm sure a lot of people can agree that, why do I have to buy 2 bags of hot dog buns for 1 pack of hot dogs, and then I'm going to run out, or I'm going to have all this extra space, and it's like, yeah, just match it.
Yeah, let's be real. We've been tripping over all the wrong stuff. We've been tripping over, social commentary. We should have been tripping over the fact that hot dogs and buns don't come in the equally numbered packages. I'm glad we're looking at the important stuff here, but I know it's silly personally. I love this. I'm cheering. I hate having extras left over and buying 2 packages and trying to do the math. This is great. I love it. Fun.
Can we just ask for a moment why Heinz ketchup is getting involved? I mean, I'm a French's mustard girl all the way. I can't imagine ketchup on a hot dog. I don't mean to be controversial. I'm glad they're doing it, but I am loath to see the word ketchup next to the word hot dog.
Hold on a second. There's actually a part of this story in the article here where the author, this is from CNET. Heinz, of course, makes neither hot dogs nor buns, but ketchup, a condiment many people use on hot dogs and many think should never come anywhere near a hot dog. In fact, the National Hot Dog and Sausage Council just came out to say, quote, "Only children should eat their hot dogs with ketchup."
Amen.
Right on. With that being said, let's. I'm going to open this one up now. We finished up our reads, but here's the bonus, and this is a thought piece, and I encourage anybody who wants to join the stage. Please feel free to raise your hand, come up to the stage here, and once I start talking about this article, if you have some thoughts on here, it is something that is a little interesting that I thought about for a while, and it was something I'm just going to read it. And it's a great article from Music Business Worldwide. And it talks about managers should be well compensated and own equity in what we are developing. Okay. And I need to just change something here. I don't know why the screen keeps on dropping out. So I'm sorry, my NDI broadcast over the phone. I need to fix this. Hold on, everybody. Sorry about that in the live stream. Thanks for understanding.
Thanks for bearing with us in the live stream.
Thanks for bearing with us in the live stream. It's just been one of those days. So, all right, we got it fixed. Great. Let me go over to the article now. All right. So this was from, a talk with Ty Sticklorius and Lily Crockford, and at the UK Music Managers Forum last week. And they discussed their newly agreed partnership, which offers clients of both companies staff in the UK and US. And they also spoke about why the traditional artist-manager deal is no longer fit for a purpose and their issue with the hustle culture in the US. So it was talking about, and again, this is, you can take this in different areas. I mean, they're talking definitely on a higher level because, I mean, they're who they are and have definitely, hire artists, but it's something that goes back to also, U2 and how artists, managers, and bands came together and formed a contract with those. So this, I'll start here. It's like Tari Sticklorius started off. I was surprised to find that the way we do commissions and how the business works for management is very different to the UK. I've been doing this with John Legend for over 16 years now, and it's been a partnership. We co-own business together. We've built so many things. I was surprised that it's not the same in the UK because management is such an all in existence and a job. Managers should be well compensated and part of more of the top line rather than just getting scraps at the bottom. Revenue from the music side can only go so far sometimes, and deeper equity ownership with your artist can be a better approach. And she's like, keeps on going. It's an incentive like, this is my company. This is a brand I'm building with John Legend that he owns and I own. And we're both putting in all of our blood, sweat, and tears. Managers often take the short end of the stick. We're kind of like, sure, don't pay me till the end of the year. Lily Crockford talked about how the partnership approach has an influence on the way deals are now structured, and these are what she has said. If an artist wants you all in as a manager, what are you getting out of that? As managers, especially in the UK, our approach is often, oh, the artist is in charge. It's all about the artist. We should just be grateful that we get to work with them. But we work incredibly hard. We support everyone. We're available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. When you find those right artists who businesses you can actually share in, you will put in more as a manager and they will ultimately get more out of it. We need to explain that because the model is so set in its ways, and the model is set in its ways because of the Beatles, and there were 4 in the band and 5th was the manager. It's kind of crazy we're still following that. And goes on to say, going back to, it's like, I don't even like the word manager. I may be because John and I have known each other since college, and he's one of the smartest people I've ever known, but it's hard to think of me as John's manager. If you don't know what that means and you're not in the music business, it sounds submissive, right? John Legend doesn't need somebody to manage him. He needs a partner to run his $50 to $100 million global annual business. It has all different kinds of revenue streams, complexities, brand conditions, and sensitivities. And then it has about the fact that he's an actual person, not a toilet paper roll. And she goes on to say, like, as the CEO of our global companies, I have to take into account that first and foremost before anything else. So this is a very unique relationship, and I don't think there's anything much like it. And she said when they first started Friends at Work on the website, they didn't even say the word manager because they think they need a new lexicon. So, it's like, goes in a sense, like when you're a partner, you're in some client service relationship where the artist calls you at 3 a.m. or midnight on a Friday or Saturday. My artist would never dare treat me like that, with that level of disrespect, unless it was really something important. We've created boundaries, healthy relationships, and they care about me and I care about them. And you establish that in your financials as well. She goes to this final, we're going to wrap up on this. You get what you pay for. And if your artist knows that you're that good, that they need you to run everything for them and they help you help build it. You're strategic. You're good at relationships. Then you deserve to get the compensation that's not this tiny piece of paper of this person who's become incredibly wealthy. I also don't think the definition of a manager should be somebody who's like 100%. I remember hearing that when we were going up against some other management company, that manager's pitch to the artist was, quote, I don't have a wife, I don't have kids, you're going to be everything for me. She goes on to say, I guess for some artists in the extreme narcissism, that's what they want, but I don't think that gives the depth of knowledge and experience that a manager should offer to their artists that they're working with.
Slow clap, slow clap.
The thing, I remember this right, U2, Paul McGuinness, they signed a contract right off the bat. They had a partnership. So, it's like, not that he wasn't the 5th Beatle, it wasn't, he's the 5th, they joke about the 5th U2 member. But the thing is, they had a contract. It was a business structure. And I really like, what I liked about this was interesting, talking about changing the word manager. And yeah, I mean, granted, John Legend, yes, doesn't need a manager. He doesn't need a manager at all. What he needs is somebody to, handle business. Doesn't need somebody. I mean, you can have day-to-day assistants, but sometimes that's where the manager structure comes in. Is you have the lead manager, then you have the day-to-day managers and things like that. But then it all trickles down. So if the manager of the artist is taking their whatever their cut is, 15, 20%, whatever, and then they're taking their cut of the artist, and then they have to pay the day-to-day manager. And if they have a roster of clients, so they're saying getting scraps at the bottom. But I mean, how much can you take from an artist as they're starting up? Because you need the artist to be able to succeed. You need the artist to be able to say, hey, I can go and dedicate more time to my career and building my career and making more money because I don't have to take this part-time job. But if you're cutting into my earnings, then I still have to have a part-time job, and I'm not going to make as much money, and therefore I can't make as much music. So the vicious cycle continues. If anybody has some thoughts on this, feel free to jump on the stage. And
I have a
Eli,
thought. I thought it was really, yeah, I thought it was really interesting that the article mentions they do away with the word manager because, as the article mentions, someone like John Legend doesn't need a person to manage his life. It is not, there is not a manager and a subordinate. That's not the terminology that's correct at all. But I also love that the article identifies some of the tasks that they hope to eliminate as they some of the supposed tasks for the manager that they're supposed to eliminate, such as taking phone calls at 3 o'clock in the morning. I think it's interesting that the article speaks about getting rid of the word manager and replacing it with partner, even as the article mentions that the manager shouldn't be the artist's assistant, and vice versa. It's a partnership all the way. It's like a marriage. This is a really interesting article to me. So thanks so much, Peter, for sharing this. I wonder if anyone else has comments today on this article.
I just wanted to speak up because in the early days of Clubhouse and having worked on at an indie label, my interaction with managers was very similar to a lot of the questions that I get on this app and have always gotten on this app when it comes to artists just asking about needing a team and needing management. And more often than not, the question is, well, what do you have for that manager to manage, and do you make enough money to sustain that manager? If you are one of several clients they have time to work for, who you could pay 20% of what you make, and that would be enough to make their living. So I think that a partnership would also even early on in their career, would establish the roles that, yeah, I will do some of this as your partner and the non-music maker, person that holds that role. As that partner, I will do some of the work, but some of it will also fall on you as the artist to create the content for us to market, to procure assets, to use your relationship, to sway your fan base and to build your fan base. There sort of has to be that give and take. If you establish that earlier on in the rise of a good career, it will only stand to assist with when later it starts to be a lot of real money and a lot of real engagement and a lot of sort of major things to manage that the non-music partner would have to then take on, while the music partner is there doing interviews and performances and going on tour and writing and recording, etc. If you establish, I mean, it's sort of start as you mean to go on, not unlike a marriage. If you establish early on that someone is going to do the lion's share of the food shopping and someone else is going to do the lion's share of the cooking and cleaning, then you establish that early on, and as things need to be changed, it isn't lopsided and no one's not pulling their weight. It feels very much like the same kind of relationship, and it would be great if people establish that early on instead of cultivating that sort of prima donna view of manager artist relationships that's laid out here in the article, as Eli mentioned. It could be an interesting take on how to move forward with it.
I mean, I definitely think that's interesting. And I want to say too that I'm not sure that everyone's aware. I know a lot of folks who are listening to the Music News Power Hour are aware of what management does and doesn't do behind the scenes. And I know that a lot of us are aware of the hard work that musicians put in on stage and off stage. And I think it's worth noting that for any sort of an admin, manager, agent, support team member, that support team member puts in time behind the scenes and off the clock, just like a musician practices and shops for an instrument off the clock. We don't see that on stage. That's not what they're selling tickets for. They're practicing. But we have to have that practice in place so that we can enjoy that live show. A manager and an agent does a great deal of work behind the scenes as well before the show happens. And so if you're interested,
oops, I think we just lost Eli. Did we just lose Eli?
I can still see her on my stage, but she's not. She was unmuted and not speaking.
Oh, nope, she's still muted. Oh, it might be a Clubhouse glitch. Because Eli is muted, and I see her talking. Eli. Can you unmute? No, she can't unmute? All right. Eli, why don't you try leaving the room and coming back in, see if that works. Yeah, so Clubhouse has been a lot of fun today. And, yeah, and as we start to wrap up, we're going to take a mulligan. Eli, leave the room and come back
I think I'm back. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah,
Oh,
there you
hooray!
go.
I disappeared for just a moment there. I was lost in the matrix. But it's important to remember that this definitely is a marriage. That's all I was saying, between the artist and the manager. Sorry for my technical difficulties there. Not sure what happened.
I think it's just we can wrap up.
Excellent, excellent. And I wanted to let you know too that if you're interested in finding out more information about this article or any of the headlines that we've discussed today or throughout this week, you can find these articles and more on our website. You can also tune in daily at noon Eastern time for our broadcast, where you can watch on stream by visiting our website. Also on our website, you have the opportunity to register for free. More exciting content there. Our website for all of that wonderful information is musicindustrycity.com. Make sure that you do visit. Thank you so much to all of our viewers who are joining us on the live stream today. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. We are the Music News Power Hour at noon Eastern each weekday, brought to you by the Music Industry City Broadcast Network. On behalf of our UK correspondent, Angela Randall, and my co-host, Peter Schwing, I want to say thank you so much. My name is Eli Window, and I hope you have a great day today. We will see you next week for the Music News Power Hour at noon Eastern.
Right on. That is what I have to say. Okay, I just want to say, I have to say that to the technological Grinches that came through today. Yeah, because I were having so many technical difficulties that button that I just pressed wasn't supposed to be that sound, and my graphic just changed. My screens are actually changing without me doing anything. So on the live stream, Eli's been watching this, and everybody tuning in the screen. I go to our scenes, and then it would just change. We're doing the same setup every day. It's been like this all morning. So something has been really off. We're taking a mulligan. I'm wrapping up. I am out of here. Have a great weekend, everyone. We're going to get back into the groove on Monday. Thanks for dealing with all our technical difficulties. Have a great one.
Cheerio.
Cheerio. I hope you all have a great day. Technology, hooray. Have a good weekend.